Unlike most of her mates, one fateful morning, Xu Ting is busy reading a newspaper, her attention fixed on the headline about fatal animal attacks. Investigation is ongoing as it's unable to conclude the species that conducted the attacks. But she is lucky. All the attacks occur in Chu County of Kebei City, but she is in Keiwan City. Hi. In other words, she is safe for now, left feeling touched by the report and the many strange happenings that have been taking place. She ponders on the animals and their origins and decides to go to the maintenance room to get more newspapers and more info. When she gets there, there's a host of girls outside talking about the new maintenance worker the school hired. According to them, he's a hottie and everyone's dream guy, but he's scary, so scary that he makes most ladies feel like running away when he stares at them. They were so focused on this new guy that they didn't notice Xu at first, but when they did, they came after her immediately. They try to make her feel bad for having an interest in newspapers, but they are ignorant and don't get the value. Because she does, they pick on her, backing her against a faulty fence as they bring back stories of their time together in middle school. Xu, in a bid to get away from them, backs up to the fence so much that it gives way and she falls. During the fall, she is probably thinking she is about to meet a brutal end, when some shady guy saves her. She doesn't know who he is, but from the aura he is emitting, it's obvious we have found our maintenance worker. In no time, the girls bolt, leaving just Xu and the worker. Due to panic, she does what the girls did and bolts, before remembering he saved her and running back to thank him. In the process of doing so, she puts the bandage on his hand and bolts off again. It's clear she has given him a memory to remember. Later that day, Xu and the bully get punished, forced to sweep the compound, probably because of the broken fence. While Xu does her part, the arrogant bully tries to escape by climbing over the fence. In the end, she has her way, leaving and daring Xu to tell on her, but she responds by telling her there was no need to jump when the gate was already open. Defeated, she leaves, and our girl continues work, with her thoughts going back to the new maintenance worker. She remembers she needed newspapers and plans to ask him when next she runs into him. Suddenly, she hears a feminine scream, and instead of running away, she gets curious and heads toward the voice. Her curiosity leads her into the woods, landing her in a scene she can't understand. Before her eyes is a large wolf beside a collapsed student who looks a lot like the bully. Fearing she might be dead, Xu tries to make a run for it. Unfortunately for her, her escape is too noisy and she gets caught by the wolf-turned-human, a human who is none other than the new maintenance worker. Anyway, she knows his little secret now and has to give him a reason not to put her in the same position as her classmate. After all, he wants to eat her, drawing closer when she panics and begs him to eat something else. Nonchalantly, he pulls back and asks her if she wants him to eat her friend and let her go. Frantically, she begs him not to do that, trying to deliver another solution to him. Luckily for her, before she can come up with one, he has to leave. Because of his keen sense of hearing, he can tell that some of the staff in the school have gotten wind of the missing students. Before leaving, he warns her not to snitch on him, promising her she won't be as lucky as she is now if she does. To make things easier, he casts a spell on her, causing her to pass out, and leaves her where the staff can find her. The men plan to take the girls to the hospital while the perpetrator heads into the spiritual part of the forest to meet up with his colleagues. If it wasn't obvious before, it is now. The new guy is a werewolf named Yan, and his colleagues, fellow werewolves, are not happy about his form getting exposed. Sister Shi, one of the werewolves, assumes he has handled the girl who discovered him, but he can't give her a straightforward response. He knows they expected him to finish her, but he didn't, explaining that she is a mere human and she didn't capture proof on any electronic devices. His excuse doesn't stop Shi from being concerned about the rumor the human could spread, but he assures her it's all good. Even if word gets out, most of the people who hear it won't believe, while others would pray to their god, a god he deems to be a little thief. Nevertheless, the reaction he loves the most comes from those who melt down in fear when he scares them. The other werewolf with them, his younger brother, Chun, upset by his yapping, mocks him for playing with his food. Last he checked, that was something only cats did. Dogs, on the other hand, played with toys. She warns him to stop, but her warning comes too late, as Yan is already pissed off and kicks Chun a few meters away. He does have a point, however, and she agrees with him. Yan is being careless, and that's not good. They have enemies with weapons that can destroy them. In the meantime, they need to lie low, but they are good if Yan knows what he is doing. Yan assumes the meeting is over and is about to leave when he is stopped by Sister Shi. She then hands him an heirloom that has been passed down in her family from generation to generation. It's a jewel known as the heart fragment. She was able to find a way to get it and wants him to hold on to it for now. If he loses it, he'll be in some unexplainable trouble that even she can't save him from. She charges him to use the fragment to find a certain gatekeeper and the heart he is guarding in order to give their species a chance to survive. Determined to complete his mission, Yan peers into the sky, heart fragment firmly in hand, thinking about making his mother proud. Suddenly, the fragment starts to react, causing concern for the trio. It reacted sooner than expected, prompting Chun to question its accuracy. I mean, not only is it reacting so early, but added to that, it's reacting to the band-aid on his hand. He got it from Xu and is stunned to discover that the fact that it's reacting means she is their gatekeeper. It's almost laughable that an incompetent human is their gatekeeper, but it's the card they're dealt and they have to play with this deck. The following night, Yan sneaks into the village, feeling mixed about whether he has found Xu's place or not. The house is larger than he expected, with decent security making him conclude Xu comes from a rich family. Peering into her window and seeing her confirms that it is indeed her place, but she is too busy setting traps to notice his presence. She is trying to ensure that if anything comes after her, she'd know. To his surprise and disappointment, she reveals that she is setting a trap for him, hoping that if he comes after her, she will be able to get proof of his existence. She needs proof if she wants the police to believe Yan, the school maintenance guy, turns into a wolf. Yan, intrigued by the discovery, now knows why he was interrogated all afternoon. As payback, he huffs and puffs and blows away her trap, leaving her distraught because of all the hard work she put into the trap. Watching her reaction is pure gold, but he's here for business and not pleasure, remembering that when he notices the fragment isn't reacting. Is it that he is too far away from her? Or that it has nothing to do with her? Two big questions, and he has no time to think of an answer for, when he notices Xu has spotted him. Xu, on the other hand, panics severely, but tries to maintain her cool. She has questions of her own, but the only answer she can come up with is escaping the room to get help. Unfortunately for her, before she can get to the door, he stops her. It's a terrible position to be in, and her playing dead doesn't work. In fact, it gets worse when he asks her not to move, promising to let her go if she complies. Xu, on the other hand, is losing her mind, but finally accepts Yan's terms and he proceeds, pulling out the fragment. He can't believe it isn't reacting, leaving him confused, wondering who else could have touched the band-aid that the fragment was reacting to. To answer that question, he has to consider the manufacturers and more. There are so many possibilities that he fears he must have missed something. However, Yan doesn't give up, bringing the fragment to Xu's skin. He had already given up, but found new faith when the fragment finally reacts. Xu, feeling this, springs up, demanding to know what just happened. He got interested just in time to watch her body absorb the reaction. Panic and fear set in immediately due to the many questions she has in her head concerning this, and the lack of answers to those questions. Suddenly, probably because of the reaction, Yan transforms into his wolf form, curling around Xu. Normal people would be afraid of this, but after their first encounter, all she does is look him dead in the eye and ask why he transformed. Yan transforms back immediately and, in a disturbed tone, asks Xu what kind of monster she is. What? Did he just call her a monster? She can't see why the pot is judging the kettle? He's the monster, assessing her keenly, concluding she isn't one of them. Oddly enough, the fragment doesn't even react to her, it reacts to her belongings. Nevertheless, she has absorbed the fragment and he needed answers, so he hoists her onto his shoulders, planning to take her away. As if she'd go quietly. Confused, Xu demands he drop her, but he refuses, informing her that they'll be taking a trip to the wolf den to find out who she is. The journey there is no easy one, as he leaps from rooftop to rooftop with her on his shoulders, tired of arguing. During their discomfiting journey, Xu notices some strange activity going on beneath them. There's a suspicious man, stalking someone, and she fears the man is like Yan. All of a sudden, he stops, landing on a tree before dropping her and instructing her to stay put. Even if she wanted to, she couldn't escape or see in the dark, so she waited while he handled the werewolf who strayed into his territory. Xu, still not trying to escape, notices that the guy who is being followed is safe. This makes no sense to her. Yan, who didn't just save her, seemingly saved this man too, but also feeds on people. His mission here is unclear to her. Is he a good guy or a bad guy? Whatever he is, she suspects he won't be back in a while and decides to escape. Elsewhere, Yan reunites with his siblings. He seems thrilled to see Xi, but not Chun, whom she scolded for allowing intruders into his territory. Chun immediately blames their intrusion on the fact that they threw him off by marking their scent everywhere. Yan can't help but praise them for their human-like craftiness. But that's not Xu's problem. She wants to know why he dragged her all the way here, and goes on to share the good and bad news he has. The good news is that he found the gatekeeper. The bad news is? Well, she absorbed the fragment and it's gone. Hearing the bad news causes his siblings to freeze, but there's more. More as in, as she absorbed the fragment, it felt like a part of him was taken as well. To explain better, he transforms, looking so strange that Chun can't help but laugh. They are still talking when Yan decides to check with his excellent night vision, if Xu is still there. As expected, she isn't, forcing him to go look for her, while his siblings wait. In no time, Yan returns with the runway. With her scent all over the place, she was easy to track down, and now she examines her. She can't believe this feeble-looking girl absorbed the fragment along with a part of her brother, making it hard for him to maintain his human form around her. Still, it happened, and she needs to figure out a way to extract the fragment. For that to be possible, without any compromise, she needs Yan to stay by Xu's side until she figures out a way out. Xu doesn't like this idea, but there's nothing she can do. She's in the midst of 3 werewolves. Eventually, they all head to the wolf den, a place Xu hoped would be pretty natural with various werewolves around, but it's not. Instead, it's some luxury home and the siblings are behaving more decently than she imagined. That bugs her, but the most concerning thing is Chun, who has refused to transform back, even when they are indoors. She wonders how such a big creature can move around carelessly, and the neighbors haven't noticed him yet. Even if they are in the outskirts of town, he is supposed to be more cautious. Also, why are they behaving so freely around her? Aren't they scared she will report them? It's a question that lingers in her mind when out of the blue. As if he read her mind, Yan casually informs her that they brought her here because they aren't scared of her reporting them. In a more predatory tone, he permits her to go to the authorities and report him, promising her it's useless to do so. Why? Well, he's sure she already knows, and the answer to that question leaves her trembling. As she trembles, almost as if he is reacting to her mood, he feels a bit off and transforms into his wolf form. No one was expecting this, but Chun is more concerned with the house he just cleaned getting all messed up again. Yan, annoyed, glares at Xu, who, though also shocked, recalls his sister said something about her being partially able to control when Yan transforms. On the other hand, he can't understand the pressure he just felt. It's a bit similar to the way he felt back at her home. Wait. It can't be. He transforms according to her mood. Both Yan and Xu reach this conclusion, and she immediately plans to use this to save herself. The realization that she is no longer helpless leaves her beaming in joy, glad she is saved. Unfortunately for him, her uncontrollable joy causes a flower to appear on his head. Annoyed, he tries to get her to control her emotions, but the more he tries, the more flowers from until his head is covered in a flowery bouquet. Chun can't hold back anymore, laughing profusely, uncertain why she is overjoyed. Meanwhile, she decides it's time to look into this girl deeper, to see her past and future. She tries to check while Xu is focused on Yan, and it's going well. She is actually seeing visions about her. But before they are clear enough, Xu notices her. One simple look in her direction earns her a cut, leaving her in pain. The room goes quiet, with the siblings exchanging glances before all attention is fixed on Xu, who stares back looking clueless. Yan knows he needs answers and decides they need the talk, but she refuses to speak with him until he meets her demands. Although he finds it funny that she wants to negotiate, he entertains her request regardless, curious to hear what she wants. As soon as he is ready to listen, she demands that for her cooperation, they promise not to hurt or eat her. Deep down, she knows she is safe after all. The emerald stuff she absorbed is clearly important, and Yan relies on her to keep his human form. He agrees to her terms, proving her right and making her happy again. So happy that he earns himself another head bouquet. Nevertheless, they reached an agreement, but they won't do any talking today. He has to take her home now. Honestly, she didn't think she'd see her place anytime soon, but fortunately for her, that's not the case. Once they leave the house, Chun and Yan sense someone was lurking around their home. They are certain it's the werewolf from earlier. Xu can't see in the dark, but from the brothers' discussion, she knows the man from earlier is one of them. Furthermore, she fears they all come from some terrifying world she knows nothing about. Still, it's fortunate she made it out of this alive, feeling comfortable enough to fall asleep in his arms, hoping she'll wake up and it'll all be a dream. By the time she wakes up, she is tucked in bed but can tell something isn't right. She can't put a finger on the problem initially, finding out what it is when she notices her missing shoe and dirty socks. Well, it's her reality now. So she has to handle it, instead of complaining about it, and that's exactly what she does. Getting ready for school like it's just another day. When she is done, she climbs out the window onto the roof with two things in mind. The first being that Yan needs to be close to her, and the second being that he came in from the roof. She concludes that he is on the roof, and indeed he is. She thought he was a monster, but since she woke up in bed, he might actually be more thoughtful than she thought. Observing him, she gets this reminder that wolves are nocturnal animals and they sleep a lot. This just made things easier for her, meaning that if he goes back on his word and does her harm, she'll have to wait for him to sleep and aim for his heart. Like in the movies. Let's rewind a bit. To the previous night when they brought her home. Yan placed her in her bed, after which he tried to wake her up so they could talk, like they agreed. After severe pestering, she woke up, more asleep than she was awake, to confirm that he agreed not to eat her. When he agreed, she simply bid him good night and went back to sleep. Her attitude annoyed him instantly, to the point that he wanted to get physical, but she stopped him. She reminded him that Xu is important to them and they let her sleep, while they headed back to the roof to discuss. With the sun almost out, they didn't have time, so she kept it brief. She had 3 tasks for him. The first was for him to figure out her special ability and find the heart. The second was a charge for him to take care of Xu's emotions, and lastly, she wanted him to protect Xu. Yan made it clear that he was okay with the first request, but wasn't okay with babysitting Xu. It took Xi stressing about how Xu was special, for an ordinary human, and the fragment chose her and Yan to get him to cooperate. She was their gatekeeper, and she didn't want Yan's hatred for humans to interfere with his duty. Yan, on the other hand, was desperate to change the topic and asked his sister what she saw when she looked into the girl's future. She replies that she saw nothing, even after looking into her at their home, where their clan originated and the place where their powers work best. Seeing nothing in her future meant death. Xu didn't know this, and before she came out the window, that was what Yan was thinking about. If what she said was true, either he or Xu was going to perish. Fast forward to when she comes out and makes up her mind to finish Yan when he isn't conscious. Almost immediately, she concludes she can't pull off such a stunt. She can't even handle a New Year's chicken, let alone him. She didn't know he knew all that was going on in her head, so she tries to act cool when she notices the once sleeping Yan is wide awake. Since he is already aware, he takes her hand and places it on his chest, where the heart is supposed to be, and it doesn't take her too long to realize that there isn't a single beat. He doesn't have a heart, meaning that the method of stabbing him in the chest won't work. He expects her to be frightened, but instead she runs her hand on his skin, prompting him to stop her and ask what she is doing. She replies blankly with a question, seeking to know how he has such nice color if he doesn't have a heart to pump blood. She expects a creature with no heart to be pale, but her curiosity leaves him marveling. At a time like this, she has such a random question. She always finds new ways to surprise him. Even so, she doesn't pull back, asking if he is sticking to her because he is a ghost. Uneasily, he satisfies her curiosity, explaining that he is not a ghost and he is sticking by her side because there is something they need her to help them find. Xu has no interest in helping them, mostly because she is afraid of their world. Just to be safe, she asks what will happen if she refuses to help. Yan cheekily replies that she cannot refuse, declaring that the fragment chose her, a fragment she knows nothing about. Her little brain can't understand this, and he watches her search around, wondering what she's going to do. And last time she called the police, this time, to prevent her from doing anything rash, he suggests they make a deal. He helps her with something, and in return, she helps him with this. Xu is about to agree when she starts to quiz herself, curious to know why he wants to make a deal with her. She fears it might be a trick, like last time when he told her that he'd let her go if she cooperated. Maybe that was his plan, but then she accidentally absorbed the fragment and he nabbed her without her permission. He broke his word then, so now she can't trust him, even under the circumstances, but decides to agree to make a wish when he threatens to allow things between them to continue as they are. Preferring peace over hostility, she wishes for $3 million. Annoyed by the absurd request, instead of saying he didn't have the money, Yan calls her materialistic and orders her to make another wish. Initially, she isn't down with changing her wish, but he starts counting down again like he did the first time, and she hurriedly racks her mind, before wishing for a home and family. Confused, especially because of the big yard and house she is living in, Yan asks if this isn't her home. Shockingly it is, and her parents are great, yet that's the first wish that came to her mind. Shyly, she confesses that she actually needs a friend, someone to talk to, who would support her and help her when she is need. Yan finds this funny, joking about her being unpopular, a real stab to the chest for her. In the end, he decides to be that friend, promising to do what she expects a friend to do. Initially, she isn't okay with the idea. She's never okay with anything at the start, thinking about it carefully within a few seconds, concluding that she is in a pickle and will just have to play along for now, so he doesn't threaten her. Later, she will think of a way to get rid of him, much later, because now she can't even entertain that thought, as he wants them to discover her ability. He can control airflow as he wishes. She can get information from thoughts, and since she absorbed the fragment, she too has earned an ability. He's curious to find out what it is, but is she? Yes, she is interested, understanding this as superpowers, like in the movies, and hopes that she gets something that will help her take Yan out. From the look on her face and the flowers growing on his head again, Yan can tell she is looking forward to this, but urges her not to get too excited. Even if she learns how to use her abilities, he is certain she wouldn't be able to win against him. She wishes he wouldn't underestimate her, but he is the one who's going to teach her how to use the skill anyway. It'll take time for this student to overpower her master. Plus, he doesn't think it's in her to hurt her teacher. Although she did think of stabbing him earlier with a roof tile. As they discuss, they hear someone call for Xu. It's her auntie, and she'll scold her if she catches her on the rooftop, so she tries to hurry in. Sadly, due to her lack of patience, she misses a step on her way in and falls to her doom. She is undoubtedly about to meet a dark end when Yan saves her, earning him thanks. Instead of taking it, he advises her to save her breath. He won't have saved her if he didn't need her, he says bluntly as he helps her back into her room. He assures Xu that they'll see at school, bummed that he has to go back to work, while she recalls he is the school's new maintenance worker. This should be goodbye for now, but Xu remembers something and stops him, holding his leg firmly. Ordinarily, he'd shake her off, but that'll put her in more danger, so he decides to hear her out. All she wants is a brief introduction, going first when she tells him her name. He replies with his. Nevertheless, that isn't enough. She has more questions, and for now, she would like to know what he actually is. Yan hesitates to respond, and right on time, Xu's aunt calls out to her again, advising her to hurry if she doesn't want to be late for school. It's goodbye for now, again, but before leaving, he assures her that she will find out what he is during their class off-campus outing later in the day. She's probably looking forward to it, but when she gets to school, she sees a bunch of hate notes by her table. Normal people would be hurt by this stuff, but she is more interested in the size of the papers and how they were littered around her desk when she is the first person to arrive at the class. Eventually, she goes through the hate notes, only for some girls to enter the class talking about the incident with Xu and the wounded student, accusing her of being sick in the head. They decide to stay away from her and are about to curse her family when she speaks up, announcing that she didn't lie. Her classmates, who didn't even notice her, are left frightened, and one of the girls feels they messed up. The other does not minding the fact that she heard them. Annoyed, she gets all up in her face and continues lashing out. Her first point is the notes around Xu's seat, the scale she uses to conclude that everyone hates Xu. Everyone? Really? The curious girl has to look at the notes again and confirms that they all have the same handwriting. Her classmate, obviously figured out, decides to shift the attention from the notes to Xu's explanation of what happened in the woods. To her, animals that can turn into humans are an absurd lie. She has no proof, and the girl accuses her of making things up because the school has no security camera footage. Unknown to her, she has given Xu an idea along with the reason why the cops didn't do anything after she snitched on Yan. The school's CCTV cameras were down, but if she could record footage of him transforming, she is certain all will be good. He'll be taken away by the authorities and she'll be safe. A monster is a monster. That's what she tells herself, determined to record him when she gets the opportunity. Her classmate, who has no idea what she has been through, sees her deep thinking as her acting tough and ignoring her. She wants to look tougher by shoving Xu, but suddenly they hear loud sounds from the roof. Cause can't get her thoughts off the sound, but her classmate, refusing to back down, attempts to shove her again when the light rod falls, crashing toward her. Fortunately for her, she narrowly escapes with the help of a friend. Soon after the incident, Cuz notices a ladder and suspects Yan has something to do with it. Anyways, the girls feel it is a coincidence, almost returning to their cocky state when more sounds are heard in the roof and they are frightened. Somehow, they blame this on Xu, leaving her be. As soon as they clear out, she goes outside and meets Yan on the later doing some work. She immediately knows it was him who helped her out when she was being bullied. Yan, curious, asks if she is happy now. He believed she was sad back then, but she claims she wasn't. All the girl said wasn't important to her, a girl who only values her life and money. He didn't know she liked money this much, but she does, not hiding that, and the fact that she needs money to do something important. She then thanks him for helping her, but he doesn't take it. He bluntly tells her that he intervened as a precaution. He didn't want to transform in such a crowded place because of her mood swings. It's all good, but before she leaves, Xu takes the leftover cables Yan has in hand and skips away, hoping to sell them. He can't believe little Birdie loves money this much, but whatever, he has more pressing matters to handle. Matters like finding a way to break the connection between him and Xu. He can't keep randomly transforming or having flowers grow on his head. Even worse, he doesn't know what else the connection can do and doesn't want to know. He packs up the ladder and is about to leave when he feels a tiny hand holding him back. It's Xu, and she wants to know if he is coming for the off-campus trip. Cheekily, he asks if she wants him to tag along, and she does. In fact, she wants them to go together. Yan, looking visibly uncomfortable, brushes her off, instructing her to refrain from being dependent on him. "This is just an arrangement and nothing more," he says, before storming off. Like she'd allow him to have his way, Xu stops him by telling him family don't treat each other like this. Honestly, he doesn't care, but is forced to turn back when she plays the mood card. He knows he'll transform if she is unhappy, but that doesn't stop him from scolding her for threatening him. He intends to instill some fear into her again, but cuts his lesson short because someone is coming. He lets her go, allowing her to return to her class, repeating that he has to come for the trip. She wants him there because she sees this as her best chance to get footage of him. Giving it some more thought, she knows that him and his siblings have enough power to threaten her and still get what they want, so the fact that they are trying to negotiate makes no sense. To her, they are strange, but will this affect what she is about to do? We have to wait to find out, as the next thing we know, they are at the venue for the off-campus activity. Their Xu is anxious to find out what Yan and his family are. While her classmates soak in the tourist attraction, she searches around for signs of Yan, but it's clear he isn't there. But he needs her to be close to her to maintain her form, right? She doesn't know how close, but this place is pretty far from the school. Anyway, her plan has just been thwarted. She won't be able to get footage of him now. Xu has no idea when her next opportunity will come and continues with the tour heartbroken. Their tour guide leads them to a site called the Ruins of the Gods' Dwelling. There, for the first time in her 17 years on Earth, she understands what it means to be stunned. The image before her, although it is a statue, looks alive before her eyes. The tour guide, clearly knowledgeable, informs the students that this god gave his heart to his believers, and it gave them abilities. They used those abilities to drive away monsters and plagues, ending a century of disaster. As the tour guide continues, her earth stops and her heart pounds in marvel. Unlike other gods, this one turned away from his people because he couldn't bear to watch as they suffered. That's how compassionate he was. She marvels so much that the world goes silent and she hears a familiar voice calling her name. It's a wonderful feeling, until she realizes that the voice is actually her teacher who believes she isn't concentrating. He warns her that if she keeps that up, she'll have to write an essay. She apologizes and they continue the tour, walking past the ruins of the gods and the statue of the weeping god. The next stop is the gathering area, where everyone regroups, signaling the end of the tour and the beginning of their group activities. Activities like the three-legged race and group photos, with the best earning the winner's tickets for free rides. While her mates look forward to going on these rides, Xu intends to win the tickets and sell them, dreaming that she will become rich after this. Everyone saddles up, and after Xu manages to get a group, they start the race, tailing behind almost immediately due to their lack of rhythm. While the other team races ahead, they argue, leaving her desperate for her win and tickets. Out of desperation, she offers advice to the group, and to her surprise, they listen, pushing forward desperately and taking the lead after the other group trips and falls. They win, but she feels they won too easily, not minding regardless. The group, excited, celebrates with each other, but when she tries to join in, they accidentally snub her and go to get their prizes. They leave her hanging, probably sad that all they cared about was the tickets. They don't want to be friends, but as she is about to retract her hand, someone gives her a high five. It's Yan, who asks why she is stretching her hand out like she is dumb. Well, that's not her problem. Rather, she is in shock, surprised that he came along. Refusing to overthink the high five he gave her, she demands to know why he is here, and he replies that he came to make sure she fulfills her end of the deal. She doesn't remember reaching any recent agreement with him, but he lets her know she can't just order him around without him wanting something in return. She expects this much from him, the guy who is here just so they can discover what her special ability is. He wants them to meet later, at the back of the inn since they are staying overnight, but she wants them to meet at the ruins. Her request pisses him off, making him respond rudely. He tags that place ominous, making it clear that they aren't going there before storming out. Xu, taken aback by his sudden change of mood, silently watches him leave, partially frightened because he looks like the vicious Yan she first met. At nighttime, she waits for her roommate to fall asleep before she gets ready to sneak out. The plan is originally for her to link up with Yan behind the inn, but she gets distracted upon noticing a glowing butterfly. She is lost in its beauty and refuses to let the opportunity of taking a picture of it slide. Determined, she rushes out and chases after it, certain she'll be back in time to see Yan and he won't be angry. Her hunger to take the picture lands her in the ruins. She unknowingly comes this far and decides to take pictures, not noticing the creature in the area that's interested in her heart. It may sense the fragment in her, charging towards her without giving her almost no time to react. Fortunately for her, she swiftly dodges and sprints off, cursing her ill luck that keeps leading monsters like this thing and Yan to her. She can't outrun this beast and is about to be devoured when Yan pops up from out of the blue and saves her. With one monster down, he doubts he has the strength to fight off more. That's because she is scared and it seems to be affecting his strength. Earlier, it blurred his sense of hearing and smell and made it hard for him to find her. Now this. It's the worst of times, seeing as they are surrounded by glowing moths and each one is a monster. Xu, even now, doesn't dim her curiosity, desiring a breakdown of the situation they are in, so he hesitantly gives it to her. Him and the beings before them are from a side of the world where the god of men stole their hearts. His explanation makes no sense to her. But he goes on anyway, adding that folklore says this god gave up its heart for humans to help drive out monsters and plagues. The monsters and plagues were Yan and his kind. Demons, monsters, witchcraft, indescribable things. Everything humans do not understand or believe exists makes up Yan's kind. This god of the humans stole their hearts, left them to wander in a dark part of the world, and then decided to wipe them out when he saw fit. Over time, his praise grew, along with his worship, the one Yan saw as a liar. His story, nevertheless, doesn't help matters, frightening her more and worsening his condition. Before they know it, he is on his knees, while the monsters close in on them. Xu fears Yan may not be able to handle them by himself, unaware of his current situation. When she becomes aware, she asks if he's okay. He knows he isn't, and fighting them straight up is a bad idea, due to their number, so he has to come up with something else. Especially because he also has to worry about Xu. For her sake, he comes up with this dope plan and demands she take off her clothes. Fearing this is a perverted request, she refuses, so he has to take matters into his own hands and take her jacket. In return, he gives her his necklace, which is to help cloak her smell from them. They are after her heart, and he plans to use her jacket to throw them off while she runs into the forest in search of Chun. Like I said, it's a dope plan, but she hesitates, even after he orders her to run. She is concerned about him. Why won't she be? He seems weaker, and there's a large number of enemies before him. If she leaves him here and returns with help, she might be too late when she returns, meaning running is not the answer. She has to come up with something else. To do that, she tries to study their foe, moth-based creatures. If Yan shares the wolf-like qualities because his true form is a wolf, then maybe they share moth-like qualities. Racking her brain helps her recall that the weakness of moths is fire. She immediately informs Yan that there's a way out of this mess, but she ends up distracting him and almost gets herself killed. Annoyed, he repeats his charge for her to leave, hurting her when he says she had done nothing but cause more trouble by staying. She has their fragment, and she is responsible for its safety. His tone pushes her to go quietly, leaving him with the army of monsters before him. She then runs through the field, putting as much distance between her and the ruins as possible. Only then does she believe she is safe, although she still feels like she is in a nightmare and doesn't stop running. Back at the ruins, Yan fights off wave after wave, coming at him in countless numbers. They are more than he thought, and he starts to zone out, recalling what she said to him about how he has to stay close to she for him to maintain his human form. Like that matters now, when all the creepy crawlies rush him and bury him in a combined attack. In his last moments, he notices a flame not too far away. taking him back to a childhood memory. He was just a pup back then when humans with torches found him and captured him. While he struggled to break free, hoping to reunite with his mother and escape, he heard them talking about placing him by his mother's body. That was another reason for him to hate humans. Nevertheless, unlike last time, this time the human with the torch is on his side. The creepy crawlies, once they see the flames, leave him be and chase after her, while she rides away at full speed. She hopes to get to a bundle of twigs before they get to her, and does, tossing the live flame into the bundle. She plans to cause a large fire and distract them, and it works a little too well, making the monsters run past her, jump into the flame, intending to get to the light. Yan takes advantage of the distraction and swoops in to save her, although he thinks her idea was rather dangerous. She took a flame into a forest and caused an even bigger fire. Xu, glad she didn't cause an even bigger fire that would have landed her in jail, panics regardless. Still, her problems aren't over yet. She has to find a way to get back to the inn because her bicycle is broken beyond repair, and he is too weak to carry her. To his astonishment, she replies that she is not leaving and urges him to get some rest while she stays back to protect him. She'll alert him if anything suspicious comes up and plans to get a car by morning to get she and Chun. She is convinced they can help him, and now all she has to worry about is the corpses of the creatures. She is confused about how they are going to dispose of them, but when she looks in their direction, she discovers that they are decaying with their ashes mixing with the air and making it colder. For creatures that terrifying, no one could have expected them to have such a beautiful death. It's a sight to behold, and she is soaking it all in before Yan interrupts her. Again, he asks her not to worry about him. He is weak now, but his body will heal overnight. Moreover, last he checked, she wanted something bad to happen to him. Xu wastes no time agreeing that she did, and even considered letting him die fighting the monsters when she went back to the town. If she did, she would have been free, but she didn't, mostly because she couldn't shake her mind off the many times he helped her. Also, she has a brain injury that makes her speech, thoughts, and responses slower than other people. That's why people treat her like she is stupid, but she knows what real kindness feels like. Looking back, even though he has his own motives, his going out of his way to help her is something she can't overlook. He saved her, all right. That's why she came back to help him, to make sure he survived. Her reason ends up making Yan happy. Happy enough to praise her intellect. He confesses that he underestimated her, and she gets bubbly, asking him to repeat himself. He refuses, as expected, but the damage is already done. She is happy, and her happy emotions make him transform into his wolf form, with a head bouquet she never gets tired of seeing. Still, she refuses to back down, wanting him to repeat the part about her being smart. She expected him to know the monsters were attracted to light, seeing as he is also a monster. He ignores her nonetheless, yet that doesn't stop her from pressuring him more with questions. Eventually, he gets fed up and whacks her with his tail. Sternly, he instructs her to shut it and sleep. If she doesn't, he won't take her back in the morning like he plans to, and she'll be on her own. Instead of giving in, she reaccesses her feelings about him. It's not one of gratitude, but something more. Something she has been longing for. Due to that feeling, she offers to do the night watch one last time, but he dismisses the offer. This time she listens and falls asleep, with him warming her. One would expect the duo to have a peaceful night, but they don't. Someone or something is lurking. But Yan sniffs the visitor out in time. Luckily for them, the intruder is Chun, lighting the gloomy night with his lively aura. He explains that the second he saw ashes in the sky, he knew something was up and hurried to the site. Curious, he wants to know if Yan is okay or hurt and bursts into laughter when he sees Xu getting comfortable on him. He can tell that taking care of a human is a lot. No wonder Yan is relentless in trying to find a way to extract the fragment from her. He promises his brother that he will, which is good, but he comes bearing news and they get into that immediately. According to Chun, she went through some old records about gatekeepers. From her study, she discovered that gatekeepers like Xu have appeared before. When one dies, after a bit, another one appears after some years. Now, the reason why she couldn't see her future is that the dead have no future, because is fated to die, after which the fragment will leave her body on its own. The answer to their big question, with that being said, is to end Xu and take the fragment. Yan outrightly refuses the suggestion, however, with Xu in his arms. He wishes to spare her for now, because it's rare before you stumble upon a simple-minded human like her. Plus, he finds her interesting. He means it as plainly as possible, but Chun believes there is more to the statement, insinuating that he plans to control Xu. Annoyed, he advises him to refrain from watching those shows that are affecting his thinking. He then wakes Xu up and takes her back. Her first stop upon returning is the security office, where she drops an apology note and compensation for the security officer whose bike she totaled. From the office, she sneaks back to her room, hoping to get there before she is caught. Yan, paying no respect to her plan, advises her to come find him after school and not run away like she usually does. She responds by begging him to quiet down so he doesn't put her in trouble, and after wishing, she dashes off, worried about getting busted. Now that he is all alone with nothing to do, his mind shuffles between the best way to pass the time and the fact in what his sister said. He doesn't have to think too long, as due to his superhuman sense of hearing, he can tell Xu got caught by her dad. He doesn't know why the man is here, but he also heard a striking sound and hurried to the scene. Xu, who thought no one noticed her absence, didn't prepare for a way to handle things if she got caught. Now she stands before her father, who sounds very disappointed. He had warned her to refrain from embarrassing him, and a young lady sneaking back in would hardly ever win her case. Xu is no different. She is being judged on sight by a man who cares more about his reputation than finding out what happened. He is pissed that a teacher had to report her absence to him in the middle of the night, and everyone concluded she was missing. He reminds her that he adopted her and wants to smack some sense into her, because she dodged his first attempt, yet this time Yan steps in, opening a window into his face. Pretending it was an accident, he apologizes, after which he asks the man if he wanted to smack Xu. Her father, whose focus is now on him, is cooking up a response when some of the staff arrive. The teacher asks where she went, expressing how worried she was when the report that she was missing came to her. See, someone who cares, but her two-faced father quickly calms things down, apologizing on behalf of Xu and making her apologize too. His behavior before the teacher earns him the Great Father Award, but he laughs it off, claiming he does his best for this girl who has been pitiful since childhood and needs extra care. Now Yan knows why she wished for a home and a family. To her, guardians are not worth calling a family. Time passes after the disappearing stunt she pulled, and people are still talking about her as she walks by. If she wasn't already on everyone's radar, she is now, meaning she has to be more careful when next she is going to meet up with Yan. Upon everything that has happened, she is humming, feeling shockingly happy. Upon getting to her seat and noticing there are no hate notes for her to recycle, she feels unlucky, looking up only to see the bully, Xian. She didn't hear anything about her being discharged from the hospital. Doesn't her presence in school mean Yan would be exposed? Things get more complicated when Cuz sees Yan talking to a police officer. If they are here to arrest Yan, he is in trouble because no matter how powerful he is, he can't defend himself against guns. She feels like helping him, but a part of her feels it's okay for him to pay for the hurt he caused others. That's when it hits her. The thought that it might not have been him who hurt Jan. With mixed feelings, she heads to his office as fast as possible, yelling his name upon entry, forgetting he has superhuman hearing ability and heard her from a mile away. As she enters, he is reading a newspaper about her and her father, but puts it aside when, while still yelling, she asks him if it was he who hurt Xian the day they met. Nonchalantly, he asks what would happen if it were him who hurt her, advising Xu to be more worried about herself than she is worried about others right now. Surprisingly, she sees no reason to be worried, so he lets her know that the whole school is talking about how she snuck out at night to meet him. Her being here is like adding insult to injury, but funnily, she doesn't see it that way, replying that all is good since this is the first time she is caught up in a love scandal. Yan can't help but react immediately, almost falling off his chair in shock, with his face bright red like a tomato. He worries he might have to fix the rumors as well, but that's not why she is here. The student who was injured came back with the police, so she wants to know what he is going to do. She is aware he'll be punished for attacking others, but even worse, his identity will be revealed. As she waits in silence and anxiousness, she looks to Yan, hoping he'd come up with something, but all he does is assess the situation, point out the already obvious, like how his being discovered isn't a good thing. Sure, they'll be captured and experimented on. He recounts that it was she who spread the rumors, but she is willing to claim she is actually mentally unstable to get him out of this. If she does that, it'll be Jian's word versus his, and they can't fully believe her. It looks like their only plan, but he isn't okay with it. He knows she doesn't like all the gossip about her mental state, and if she does this, she'll only be confirming all the gossip. Furthermore, those who used to exclude her as a joke because of it will now have an actual reason to do so. Those who are unfriendly to her will double down. He wants to know if she has really thought this through, and she claims she has. She can't change how they feel about her, right? But she can use it to her advantage. Before they realize it, the officer and a few others are at the door, ready to enter, as they are told the witness involved is in the office. Yan then surrenders their secret into her hand and they wait for the worst to happen. Things get more intense when the officers walk in first, informed that Yan is the person they are looking for. The teacher who led them in spots Cuz and asks what she is doing here. Meanwhile, the gossip-hungry students outside exchange views outside about what they feel happened. Xu, ready to respond to the teacher, parts her lips to speak, almost making a huge mistake when Xian rushes to Yan joyfully. Dumbfounded, she watches as the Xian praises him for being at the scene to scare off the animals that would have harmed her. She is confused, watching all this happen, recalling all he had said about torturing his prey. Meanwhile, it wasn't him who harmed her. He actually saved her. She can't believe he lied to her again, unable to count the number of times he has lied to her. Well, she has bigger problems right now. Her classmates still believe she is bonkers and untrustworthy. They also conclude she wanted to mess up the investigation because she had a conflict with Xian, her bully, from time to time. Again, it's her versus the crowd, and she remains neutral, looking nonchalant and unbothered. Still, she lets them know she can hear them, but that's okay with one of the girls who openly confronts her about all she said earlier about the accident. Her classmates, on the other hand, warn her, reminding her that the last time someone confronted Xu, the classroom exploded. She ignores them, again because why not? There is no good way for her to explain herself. She did talk about the animal that could turn into a human, but going against her word now will only spark more rumors. She doesn't care about the rumors, however, Yan does, having her back when he says he also saw the creature she spoke of. The students immediately go crazy, yet he doesn't stop there, actually describing himself when he describes to the beast, making sure the students are as frightened as necessary by the time he is done. By doing this, he manages to free Xu of some of the rumors, adding that she must have been scared. Wow, this man, swift to lie, blurring the lines of reality as he does so. But he's taking her side regardless. By doing this, he has helped her take away a weight that has been holding her down all this time. Added to all this, Xian declares that Xu tried to help her in such a terrifying moment, and based on that alone, she doesn't believe she is bearing any grudges. But Xu can't remember helping her. Everyone waits to hear how Xu saved her, and she reveals that when she was barely conscious, the monster asked Xu to choose between her own safety and hers. She assumes she is alive today because Xu didn't make the easy choice. She swallows her pride and thanks her for that. To commemorate the day and reward Xu's bravery, Yan hands her a banner, spelling out her bravery, courage, and heroism, literally. To her good deeds, he adds that during the school field trip, she saved him as well. On her way to the restroom, she stopped a thief who was about to get him. He praises her for not minding the risk and going out of her way to help him, getting injured in the process. It's a crazy story and no one in the room was expecting it, but he sells it well by adding that there were witnesses. Xu is dumbfounded. She doesn't know how he got witnesses, but can tell he survived this long among humans by being able to lie this well. Before everyone, Yan thanks her, literally saving her from every possible rumor she faced. Now she is a hero, flooded by everyone, as they all want to hear more details about her heroic deeds. Don't they have a class to get to or something? Later in the day, Xu is at home, sneaking out of the house to sell bottles. She plans to meet Yan after it gets dark, but gets confused when her bag of bottles is gone. She didn't know people steal trash these days and soon discovered her bag wasn't stolen by a person, but by a dog. Yup, that's no ordinary dog, and she was wrong to think it was. Now her lust for money has led her into what looks like a trap. She is surrounded, caught in the middle of two wolves, but initially she thinks the other one is just some random pervert. When she spots his tail, that view disappears. Immediately, she backs away slowly, prompting him to ask if she is backing up because she is scared. Clearly afraid, she concludes he wants to eat her, feeling more convinced when she notices the dog is in on it too. She is cornered, but the wolves look like they are more interested in the bag of rubbish than in her. In exchange for the bag, she is offered a drink, but she isn't really listening. Based on her last experience with his kind, she is cautious, wondering if this time will also be like last time. If it is, she already has some knowledge, interrupting the wolves by tossing a plate in the air like a frisbee. At first, they fall for it, playing fetch, before realizing what's happening and rushing back to her before she can escape with the bag of bottles. They seemingly don't like being treated like dogs and look more threatening to her, so she agrees to trade the bottles for her safety. Suddenly, he is no longer interested in the bottles and wants to take her for a drink, But that's not okay with Xu, who, even though she is trembling, picks up a broom and readies herself for battle. He taunts her for picking the broom, claiming it'll be useless against him, but it isn't. She actually clobbers him with it, until Yan steps in. He is surprised that she is so energetic and is glad he doesn't have to worry about her stamina during training. Relieved, Xu asks when he got here and why he keeps popping up from out of nowhere, but he replies that he was there all along. He just decided not to step in because he likes the scared expression she has. She scolds him for being so evil, yet he sees that as a compliment, leaving her to address the wolves in his territory, who are trying to sneak away. While he is at it, Xu notices that she has stopped shaking. She certainly feels safe around him, but the wolves certainly don't feel safe right now, standing before the court of Yan. When asked why they are here trying to take bottles from a little girl, they claim it's not for them, but for a granny. Their excuse is accepted. Next, he asks if they went to the police and did as he said, and they did. Finally, he wants to know why the wolf in charge ran his mouth about taking Xu out on a date. If he is so lonely, he suggests they take him out instead, but they refuse, apologizing for the slip-up. They then apologize to Xu, addressing her as sister-in-law. Annoyed, Yan gives them the boot, warning them not to address her like that because she is a child. Xu, on the other hand, soaks in the compliment, concluding that these animals have a long lifespan, one that makes the lifespan of a human almost insignificant. She tries to shake the thought out of her mind, only to look over to Zan and see that he is as red as a tomato. Probably feeling ashamed, he scolds her instead of himself, warning her to control her emotions. Next is the wolves he found in his territory. With a foot on their tails, he warns them, promising to kick them out the next time he sees them in his territory. Scared, the gang scurries off, leaving Xu and Yan. Xu, curious, wants to know if he isn't worried about humans seeing them. He assures her it's all good. Humans don't pay attention to tails. They just see them as an accessory. This makes sense to her, although it feels a bit nostalgic. Anyway, she is reunited with her bottles, hugging the trash bag like it's so precious. Yan, unimpressed that she went this far for plastic bottles, asks why she didn't call for help. She didn't, because she was trying not to expose their identities. Her worry for his safety is very clear. He calms her down by assuring her that they can't really harm them. Compared to them, humans are just little animals, with a little brain, 2 kilobytes at best. Pissed by the statement, she attempts to whack Yan with her bag of bottles, but soon considers her scale of preference and carries the bottles to sell, instead of damaging them. Curious, he wants to know why she is so desperate for money. Someone who has a roof over her head, is treated manageably well by her adoptive father and more, doesn't need to go around selling bottles. Well, all that is just from his point of view. Most of what she wears, she tailored herself. She is multi-talented and even sells some of the tailored clothes to make money. She is gathering money to pay him back as quickly as possible. Since you know, they are friends now, Xu lets Yan in on a little secret. She and her adoptive father are under a contract. The terms are easy to understand. 1. She has to pay him back for all the money he spent raising her. 2. She has to be presentable and obedient enough to maintain a public image. That's it. So she needs to save up. She is making progress now, but is certain she will make even more progress when she gets to college and starts working part-time to pay him back faster. She hopes to become a fashion designer after she graduates and intends to travel the world, to be inspired by various views. Certainly, once she is an adult, he'd stop spending on her by then, and she will be able to concentrate on getting enough to pay him back. Her dream makes Yan look back at his life so far. All he has faced is betrayal. First, it was his so-called best friend, back when he was a pup, who led him to the place he was discovered and captured. You know, the day he lost his mother and saw the cruel sides of fire and humanity. Next, it was a pack that invited him to join them. He did, so he could feel safe and not alone. It was after he had grown a bit, so he didn't think anything could go wrong. Little did he know that the greedy werewolves planned to backstab him after their hunt together and possibly take his strength for themselves. All he encountered were liars who either charm with honeyed words or are comparable to maggots that feed on every last bit of you. He learned a lot in his early years, yet one day, on his way back home, he stumbled upon an injured bird. He planned to cook it after fattening it up, but after a bit, he bonded with the little fella. It was his light, but in the wild, lights stay lit for only a time. One day, he was sniffed out by a pack he had encountered in his earlier days and dealt with. They spent time looking for him, and when they found him and cornered him, he was ready to go down fighting. But his little friend wasn't ready to see that happen. It charged into the pack, probably ended up dying. All he did was feed it. The smallest bit of goodwill, and it may be the reason why he is alive today. And Xu reminds him of it. His gift from fate. Remembering his little birdie as he looks into Xu's eyes makes him smile suspiciously. So suspiciously that she notices and asks what's up. He doesn't reply, hoisting her up before leaping from the ground to her roof. This is one thing she doesn't enjoy, but he makes the jump so they can stash her bottles safely and head out. They'll definitely come back for them. It's training time, and he skips from roof to roof in a bid to get to the site quickly. Xu, unappreciative of this means of transportation, begs that they use another way, and he decides to listen, dropping her instantly. Obviously, this isn't what she was talking about, as she falls to her doom, fearing he is trying to assassinate her. For this, she wishes she hadn't praised him, but when she looks down, he is there, in wolf form, waiting to catch her. Yay, doggy back ride, should be her expression if he wasn't going at God knows how many meters per second. It's hard for her to hold on, but she does. And the journey continues. After some meters, he switches back and takes her up some trees that she believes are tall enough to reach the clouds. Surprisingly, they keep going up, through the fog, a refreshing but frightening journey that has her closing her eyes throughout, wondering what their destination would look like. When they finally stop, Yan asks her to open her eyes. They are at the top of a tree, above the clouds before the sunlight. He guesses this is the type of view she will travel the world to see. It's cute that he brought her here to see the view and assures her that when next she is in danger, she can call on him. All she has to do is shout his name and he will appear. Since they still have an ongoing deal, he will keep her alive for the deal, but can't make any promises after it. She knows, and once that's clear, they move on to something else. Training. Before they start, he lets her know that they are in the forest where his family's power is most concentrated. She is listening to him, while feeling like her emotional state has been unstable lately. She tries to calm herself down, simultaneously with when he asks her to calm down, but she isn't calm at all. She notices he is blushing as he asks her to first learn to feel the flow of energy. She currently has a lot of feelings, is blushing as well, but that's not the type of feeling he is talking about. Xu can't explain what's wrong with her recent behavior, but if her body and his are connected, then does that mean he can feel her heartbeat? Her panic grows to the point that he notices she isn't listening or paying attention. She is deep in thought. Her emotions were not this deep before, and she doesn't want him to know how deep they are now. She is confused, feeling a certain surge of energy that for some reason makes her cover his eyes. She doesn't want him looking at her right now. Why? I don't know. But the surge of energy runs deeper through her, and then it touches the world around them, causing the earth to rumble and the clouds to split. She does all this and doesn't even notice until her ability shows in semi-physical form. It's a high level for a beginner to start with, and both Xu and Yan are in awe, although she doesn't know what exactly is going on. Before their eyes, the small semi-physical sparks grow larger, into a more visible state. Xu, out of curiosity, asks Yan what her ability is, and he decides to take a look, but there's a surge of energy. And the next thing she sees is a mini angel. If you enjoyed this, comment below for part 2 and check out the channel for other amazing recaps. Until next time, ciao!